Well, hello. Welcome to the meeting. As Paul said, I've been interested in free market economics from a long time. I've been just studying it on my own. But I was talking to Mark just out of nowhere. He started talking to me about it, and I loved it, and I've been coming ever since. That's been about 6 years ago. Anyway, to introduce our guest tonight, I first heard about Ann when I was cruising along the web through Business Insider, and I said, oh, this story looks interesting, and I clicked on it and read about what Ann had to say and what she had just done. I thought, wow, she's great. And I realized, oh, she's in Colorado even. So that's even better. And then find out more about her. She was raised in a cow-calf operation out in Kansas. Well, my grandfather has one of those in northern Idaho, and I worked on another one. So I thought, wow, we need to get this lady to PPEC Economics Club. Of course, I didn't tell Paul that. He figured it out on his own, or had some other people mention that. But anyway, for those of you who do not know anything about Ann, she originally is from eastern Kansas, where she was born on a small cow-calf operation. She attended Kansas State University, majoring in animal husbandry with an emphasis in agricultural economics. After graduating in 1997 with a BS at the age of 20, she promptly moved to Denver to begin her career as a commodity broker. In the 8 years leading up to the operation of Barnhardt Capital Management, Inc., she built a nationwide clientele of hedgers and speculators of all sizes and shapes. She also established herself as a knowledgeable, sharp-witted cattle marketing consultant and commentator through her blog, regular articles in such industry publications as Feedlot Magazine, and most proudly through her association with Bud and Eunice Williams and their livestock marketing schools. So, would you please give a warm welcome to Ann Barnhardt.
Thank you for that kind introduction. Let me get my PowerPoint rocking and rolling. This is my website, by the way. That's just the About page. The infamous blog is the home page, and if you click on home, it'll take you over there. And it's extraordinarily redneck. It doesn't have permalinks. All this website ever was the website for my brokerage. And then, things started happening, and then Obama happened. And I went from having a few thousand, basically, cattlemen and grain farmers reading me to eventually building it. And then, coincidentally, I went uber viral, nationwide, worldwide, for the first time a year ago today. It was a year ago today. That's when Lindsey Graham went on Face the Nation, and after Terry Jones down in Florida did his Koran burning and said that the government needs to be pushing back against people in the United States who speak out against Islam outside of the law and outside of the Constitution. And I just about lost my mind. That night, the two-part video that went worldwide viral, the first part of it was me just tearing Graham a new one. And if anybody needs it, it's that fool. So that was the first part. And then the second part was me actually burning a Koran, but I did it the right way. I read it. I didn't just take a book and burn it. That's redneck. That's not how you do it. If you're going to burn a book, you got to do it with class and sophistication. The way you burn a book is you open it up and you read the filthy crap that's inside of it. And then you tear it out page by page and burn it. And I had 17 Quranic citations. There's thousands of Quranic citations that you could choose to read that are just awful because the whole thing is just a satanic manifesto. It's evil cover to cover. But I picked out, 17 of the big ones, went through, and I bookmarked the pages with raw bacon, which is pretty awesome too. So I tore it out and I burned it page by page by page. And then the thing that made it go really, really viral, what gave it the power, is at the very, very end, I said, my name's Ann Barnhardt, and my address is 9175 Cornbrush Circle, Lone Tree, Colorado, 80124. Anybody who wants a piece of me, you come and get it. I'll be waiting for you. That's what did it. That's the key, because this cowering in fear crap has got to stop. It has got to stop. And if you're a Christian of any stripe, you have no excuse. Read the Gospels. What is Jesus saying over and over and over again? It's not be nice to everybody. What does he say over and over again? Be not afraid. What are you afraid of? What's the worst that anybody could do to me? Kill me. And then what? Oh, I'm hopefully if I make it, I'm in heaven forever with Jesus. And that's the worst thing that can happen to me. If you're a Christian and you actually believe, you should experience no fear at any time whatsoever. None. And yet we have a civilization of people who claim to be nominal Christians who lay in a quivering pile, shaking with terror because they're afraid that some fool is going to call them racist, or quaking in fear of the IRS. What the hell is wrong with you people? Seriously. You need to man up. And isn't it pathetic that it's a chick who has to be doing all this? Seriously. Okay, so I was asked to give the background. There was a special request that I tell the story about how I dropped out of high school. Darn right I dropped out of high school. So I'm originally from Leavenworth, Kansas. I'm going to Leavenworth High School. It is an absolute joke. I mean, totally taken over by the NEA and the unions and Marxist. Nobody's being taught anything. And Leavenworth, Kansas it's a suburb of Kansas City, and its main business is prisons. State maximum security prison. When I was there, the federal prison was maximum security, and also the USDB. So it's a huge prison town. So there's a lot of garbage in Leavenworth, human garbage. Lots of drugs, lots of wannabe gangbangers. So I'm going to Leavenworth High School. I haven't learned anything since I was like in the 5th or 6th grade. It's that bad. And I'm there, and I hate it, and I'm miserable, and I'm just, white-knuckling my way through this, and it's awful. And I'm sitting in study hall one day. A girl had just been raped. There had been a series of 3 rapes. One was in the parking lot. There was another one, I can't remember where it was, but it wasn't in the school. A third one had just happened. A girl had been raped inside of the school. The morons had redesigned the school, and they put in these banks of lockers with dead-end blind corners. So as teachers are walking through the halls, they can't see what's going on in these blind corners of these lockers. So this girl's walking through the hall, and some guy pulls her back in there and rapes her during the school day, okay? And I'm just like, this is insanity. So I'm sitting in study hall, and this guy looks at me, and in full voice, in silence, in the study hall, with the teacher sitting about where that chair is. Okay, we're sitting at those round 8-person tables in the cafeteria. The teacher is sitting right there. I'm sitting here. This black guy's sitting right here. He looks at me, and he says, "Bitch, you uptight. You need a good F," except he said the F word in full voice. And I turned, and I looked at the teacher, and he looked at me, and he looked down. And that was it. I walked into the office. Now, bear in mind, my behavioral record is perfection, and I had skipped 2 grades. I was a 15-year-old senior in high school, okay? I'm the kind of person that they should be just, falling all over. I walked to the office and said, "This isn't going to work. I'm finished. I'm not coming here one more day. We're going to have to figure something out. You need to set me up with some sort of a home study thing so I can wrap this up." My gifted teacher was there, amongst some other people, including a counselor or whatever. And my gifted teacher looked at me and she said, "Who in the hell do you think you are?" Proceeded to tell me that I was a princess and that I needed to learn to get along with people. Remember what this guy just said to me. Okay, and when I'm 15, I didn't fully grow until I was about 20. I was probably 5 feet tall and probably about 90 pounds at this point. Okay, this guy sat there, looked at me, and said, "Bitch, you uptight, you need a good F." And I'm the one with the problem, really. Draw up the papers. I'm dropping out right now. Draw up the papers. I'm going to go get my GED. You know what I'm going to do? I'm going to start college. How about that? And so I tell the story because if you have any young people in your family that are in a situation like that, these public schools are God-forsaken, literally. They are spewing Marxist agitprop. The culture that the children are exposed to is despicable, and it is borderline child abuse, in my estimation, today in 2012, to be sending children into the public school system. If you've got some good young people in your life who are in the same kind of situation that I was in, there is no shame in dropping out, getting your GED, and going and starting and taking classes and racking up credits. Why not? How many people do you think have ever asked me in my life if I have a high school diploma? Seriously. Really? Is that a question in any of your minds? Well, I wonder if she graduated from high school. Okay? Stop being slaves to this whole paradigm where, oh, you have to get this and such piece of paper. No, you don't. Give them the finger and get out of there. That's what I did. I walked out of there and I turned around and I gave them all the finger. Little Miss Perfect. Oh, the contempt. I mean, can you imagine someone comes in, there's been a rape in the school, I come in and say this, and she looks at me and says, you're a princess? Who the hell do you think you are? These people are demented. They're demented. Okay? So I'm just putting that out there. Let me be an example. If anybody has some young people, please follow in my footsteps. Okay? If you need to drop out, drop out. So I was only 15, 16, so I couldn't go because I couldn't lease an apartment right away. I had to wait. So I just stayed and worked for a couple of years and took community college, silly little courses that you have to have, and racked up a few hours. Graduated Kansas State in 97. My major was animal science and industry. That's what AS&I stands for, which is animal agricultural production. Okay, with an emphasis in ag econ. I got to my last semester and I realized I was an idiot. If I had taken one more econ elective and taken calculus, I would have had a minor in ag econ. Not that it matters, but So that's what my education was. Immediately got a job here in Denver, wanted to live in Denver, and so just plastered the entire city with my resume, got hired into exactly the kind of office I wanted to be in. Cattle, almost cattle exclusively, emphasis on agricultural economic research. That was exactly what I wanted. Came out here, was in there, licensed as a commodity broker at age 20. Okay, if I'd hung around stupid high school, that wouldn't have happened. So I worked 8 years in that branch office. I'm not the kind of person who changes jobs every 5 minutes. I was in one office for 8 years solid. And then I got to the point where, I'm kind of a Napoleonic kind of a character. I know what I need to do, and I need to have the freedom to do it. And I had the wherewithal to do it, so I opened up my own brokerage firm. That's Barnhardt Capital Management. Opened the doors on that January 2nd, 2006. And it kind of exploded and got really good really fast. And then sadly, MF Global happened on October 26, 2012. I heard the rumblings. I saw that MF Global's bond yields had spiked, indicating big, big problems, that the street knew that Corzine was in big trouble with that firm. I posted on my blog, if you have an account with MF Global, and I didn't clear through MF. I didn't clear through them. So I was just observing this. If you have an account with MF Global, transfer out. Get out of there. Get your money wired home. There's trouble. And all these people in the industry were emailing me saying, oh, Ann, don't say things like that. You know that if a firm ever goes under, that the mercantile is going to come in and backstop everything. Don't get people all panicky. Yeah, why don't you get your money out of there just in case, okay? So the 26th, 27th, and 28th, those were the big days that Corzine was actually sweeping the customer accounts and sending them to JP Morgan via London. Okay, so what John Corzine was doing was he was aggressively, just uber aggressively, trading speculatively, proprietarily is the word, for the firm, for MF Global. Okay? He's a psychopath and he's also a moron. I don't think he's very bright. From what I've seen of him, he is not impressive rhetorically at all. And he's done anchoring gigs on CNBC, and you can pull the video up on that of YouTube. Not an impressive man intellectually. He's just a psychopath. So he's got this company leveraged about 100 to 1. Europe is getting twitchy. It's when, everybody's talking about Greece and Italy. He gets this margin call. He can't meet it. He just sweeps all the customer funds, sends it to JP Morgan. Okay, I cannot even begin to describe how illegal this is. Okay, a lot of people don't understand this MF Global thing because they say, well, it's a futures brokerage, duh, your money's at risk. No, your money is at risk relative to your positions in the market. Okay, if you're long cattle futures and the cattle market goes down, okay, you're incurring losses. That is not what we are talking about here. These people had their money stolen out of their accounts. On the 27th and 28th, it showed that it was there, and on Monday the 31st, it was gone. Well, it's not really a Ponzi scheme because a Ponzi scheme keeps going and going, like Social Security. It keeps feeding and feeding and feeding, right? This was just, he came in, he had a margin call, he corkscrewed that company into the ground, and that SOB just said, take that client money. Take that client money. Okay, and this all gets into the point of what the hell does it matter how many laws and regulations we have on the books? There is no regulatory solution to this above and beyond what's already in place. In fact, what's already in place is overkill to the nth degree. The problem is that no one will enforce anything. Why? Because there is no rule of law. Why? Because this republic has been overthrown in a cold coup. It is done. This is not a republic anymore. This is an oligarchy. It is a Marxist totalitarian oligarchy. It is already accomplished. It is a fait accompli. It is done. The issue now is there going to be a counter-revolution or is there not? That is the question. So back to my narrative. MF Global happens, stunning, come in on November 1st. First thing in my email box is a circular email from the Mercantile Exchange, because I'm, of course, on their email list. MF Global customers are not allowed to trade their accounts, and brokers are being escorted off the floor of the Mercantile. What? Okay, what Corzine did was bad. What Terry Duffy at the Chicago Mercantile Exchange did was every bit as bad. These people had positions on. The positions are still on, and the markets are still continuing to trade. They won't let them get out. They won't let them get out. What the hell are you talking about? You won't let them get out. Now remember, again, I don't even clear through this company, but the consequences of this action are so massive, and the paradigm shift is so profound, it is literally destroying the entire marketplace before our very eyes. What the hell are you talking about? You won't let them get out. You're freezing them out? This has never happened before. 2005, big firm, Refco, R-E-F-C-O. It's the one that Hillary Clinton and her deal was, they were shady too. Refco imploded. There was no lapse in continuity. What happened is that just the Mercantile backed everything. They got this buyer to come in, EDF Man, which turned into MF Global. It's all the same. EDF Man came in, bought the company. Everything was kept going. There was complete continuity and liquidity. Never was anybody blocked out of their accounts. The MF Global people, in addition to having all of their money stolen, were blocked out of their accounts, couldn't even liquidate for in excess of a week. I don't know if any of you ever traded futures, but yeah, it's just a little leveraged. Initial margin requirements are 3 to 5% of the contract value. A week? A week? And then they transfer them to other firms, namely, most of it went to R.J. O'Brien, which how much was R.J. O'Brien paid to take that business? Most of the accounts were in deficit. There's massive risk that those people are going to say, screw you, I'm not paying my margin call, go to hell. How much out of the MF Global estate was R.J. O'Brien and these other firms given to grease their palms to take on this business? That's a question that nobody's even asked. Then I start hearing from people that they're talking about clawback. Okay, so MF Global goes bankrupt officially on the 31st, on Halloween. They're now talking about the bankruptcy trustee coming in and going after the customers of MF Global who just organically withdrew their own equity out of their own accounts in the 90 days prior to the bankruptcy and using that to feed the gaping maw of this bankruptcy, read J.P. Morgan. Okay, so we've raped you 3 times. We have stolen all of your money out of your account. We have blocked you out of your account for a week, and you are completely exposed to the market but can't even liquidate. And then number 3, now the bankruptcy trustee is saying, oh, I might come after you and seize money out of your bank account, seize your own money out of your own bank account, bring it back in so I can feed the bankruptcy, and creditor number 1 is J.P. Morgan. Huh? Yeah, I know they're not owners of the debt. Do you understand how disordered this is? I heard the clawback, and I was just like, it's over. It's over. Did I cry? Absolutely not. This wasn't even a decision for me to close down my brokerage. There is no other option. If any one of my clients calls me and says, is my money safe? What are my 2 options? Tell them the truth. No, your money is not safe. Okay, we've just answered the question then. I need to send your money home. You need to get out. What is my other option? I could lie to them and tell them that it is safe. The only rational, moral path is to shut it down. And then beyond that, tell everybody in the world who will possibly listen what has just happened. This has destroyed the entire financial market paradigm, and it just isn't limited to futures. The precedent that has been set by this, the fact that Eric Holder and the Department of Justice, whatever, the fact that they have not said word one about this, $1.6 billion at minimum. It may be more than that. Not word one. If you remove Bernie Madoff, take out Bernie Madoff, okay, and add up all of the totals of the money stolen by every person today incarcerated in the United States for theft, add all of them together, it is less than what John Corzine stole. And that son of a bitch is shopping for office space in New York City. He's planning to reboot and start over again. He will never be touched. Why won't he be touched? Because he is a crony of the Obama regime. He is an oligarch. He'll raise $500,000, $750,000 in campaign funds for Obama in one evening. He will never be touched. There is no rule of law. This is no longer a republic. Get your head around it. If you still think that you have some sort of recourse in all of this, that if something like this were to happen to you, that there would be some governmental institution that you could turn to, you're out of your mind. And one more quick point, talking about things like FDIC insurance and SIPC insurance. Well, my money's safe. I have it in an FDIC-insured bank. What are you talking about? Okay, it's like a reader actually sent me this in an email, and this is a fabulous way to explain this. It's like the fire department. The fire department works like a champion if one house is on fire. They load up, off they go, they put out the fire in that one house. What if the entire city is simultaneously on fire? What is the fire department going to be able to do about that? Nothing. They're going to stand there and watch it just like all of us. There's nothing you can do. What we're talking about right now in this country is a complete and total systemic collapse. FDIC can't bail out every single bank in the United States. That's tens of trillions of dollars. There isn't that much money. Even if they did it, how would they do it? By printing money, which would then do what? It would instantaneously destroy the currency. FDIC, are you kidding me? SIPC, are you kidding me? This is meaningless. You've got to get out. You have got to completely withdraw. Get as much of it out as you can. Now, it's like me. I've got a few $1,000s in the bank just to pay the bills. The recurring bills that get paid. That just gets put in the bank. Everything else is out. It's gone. And my word is, if you can't stand in front of it with an assault rifle and defend it, and I'm not kidding, if you can't stand in front of it with an assault rifle and physically defend it, then baby, you don't own it. Don't talk to me about gold that you have in some vault somewhere. First of all, it probably isn't there. Second of all, a couple weeks ago, did you see they're starting to find that gold bullion is all laced with tungsten? Did you see that? So the crap that is in those vaults, it's probably been allocated to multiple different people. I think that's what's going on at COMEX. Well, I have a vault certificate with a COMEX futures contract. Yeah, you and probably about 15 other guys have the same bar serial number. And they're just hoping that y'all never cross paths and compare your warehouse receipts. And then what is there? Is it even gold? Is it gold veneer and tungsten core? Does it have tungsten rods running through it? Yeah. Give me a break. Okay? So, let's see. I went uber viral again. I got everybody out on, I think, the 15th and the 16th. It took me 2 days to liquidate my book. And then on the morning of the 17th, I posted on the blog my Going Galt letter for all the world to see. Zero Hedge instantly picked it up. Within an hour and a half of me posting it, I'm getting ready to go do a cattle marketing school, and all these emails start coming in. They say, rush what? Rush what? Within 90 minutes of me posting this letter, Rush Limbaugh is reading it on the air. Yeah. And then the next morning, Beck read even more of it the next morning on the air. So, I'd gone uber viral in April when I burned the Quran, and it's totally the Holy Spirit. I now kind of see why this all happens. I mean, what are the odds that I go viral burning a Quran, completely different thing, and then this happens with MF Global, which is exactly the business that I'm in. Exactly. And I'm right there to tell everybody what's going on and to take the step of shutting down. So going Galt, it wasn't even a shaking my fist at the world. It was a no-brainer. I'm not going to sit here and keep going and just wait for the other shoe to drop and have that happen to all of my customers. There would be no way that I could morally live with myself. None. So no tears, no crying, no big deal. So I'm kind of early retired, but I still have Cornerstone Cattle Marketing, and believe it or not, there's some folks here who actually have attended one of my cattle marketing schools. So I am for real. Tell them I'm for real. She knows about cattle. She really does. Oh, my clicker isn't working. Did we lock up? There we go. Okay. So are there any mathematicians here? Okay, you know what the Riemann sphere is? Oh, we love the Riemann sphere. So what is the Riemann sphere? This is such a cool analogy. Okay, so this axis right here, this x-axis, that is the real number line. Okay, the y-axis is all of the imaginary numbers. Remember I, the square root of -1, the imaginary number. So that's what you're looking at. So what you do is you have this surface, the complex surface, okay? Every single number, both real and complex. Then what you do is you fold up the ends and bring them all together, just like if you had a piece of paper. And you gather them all up at the top to make a sphere out of it. But there's one point missing to fill the hole and complete the sphere at the north pole of this sphere. What's the point that's missing? Infinity. So you got to plug that hole with infinity, and then voila, you have a sphere. That's the entire numerical system, and it's crazy cool. So the Austrian school and, Randian objectivism, that's like the surface that you pull up and gather together. What's the plug that you need to finish off the sphere? What's infinity, literally? Jesus Christ. So it's a perfect little analogy. So I'm going to talk a lot about Jesus, and people say, I don't want to listen to you talk about Jesus. This is an economic club. Well, baby, if you think that Jesus isn't completely embedded in and essential to economics, you're out of your mind. And you're learning that lesson right now. And everybody is going to learn that lesson right now. The pre-moral to all of this is I don't care what economic theory you use. I don't care how hardcore Austrian you are. I don't care if you abolish the Fed. I don't care if you go to a gold-backed currency. if your society is godless, nothing you can do will ever work. Ever. Like it or not. Like Rand said, you can deny reality, but you can't deny the consequences of reality. And that's what this is. Oh, come on, you thing. Okay. How can rational self-interest be Christian? You know, Rand, was all, her theory is called rational self-interest. It's all about me. It's all about me. How can that in any way, shape, or form be the least bit Christian? Well, first of all, self-loathing is a sin. Okay? And you all need to understand this because self-loathing is what the Marxists have taught us. All of us white people. Not white Hispanic people. Oh, and Asian people too. Asian people have been taught to self-loathe too. Okay, we have been taught that anybody who is Caucasian, has any European ancestry, and is in any way affiliated with any Judeo-Christian faith tradition, the only way that you can prove that you're a good person is to hate yourself to the point of being culturally suicidal. That's a fact. That's a fact. That's what they've taught us. Self-loathing is a grave sin. You are made by God in His image. Hating your own family, hating your own culture, hating your own nation. These are sins. I'm getting this straight out of the Catechism. Catechism published in 1952. Not the Catechism published after Vatican II. No, you got to go to a catechism before Vatican II. I have one that's fabulous. It was published in 52. Or you just pull out the Catechism of the Council of Trent, 1560 or whatever that is. Okay? You can't be reading anything that is after the Marxist infiltration. And the Marxist infiltration came hot and heavy in the 60s. I mean, everything. The golden rule, love your neighbor as you love yourself. How does that hold up if you're a nation of self-loathers? If I hate myself, what obligation from the lips of Christ do I have to my neighbor, to you? If I hate myself, I don't have to do anything for you. That's right. That's right. Man created by God and in His image, already said that. The salvific work of Christ, hello. If we're all walking animated piles of manure, what possible worth or value could the cross have? What was the point of that? Do you see how all of these things just collapse? It just all collapses. Okay, you've got to be square on this. Self-interest is not limited to the material or to this world. If I love you, what does that ultimately mean? It ultimately means I want the both of us to be in heaven together someday. That's what that means. So would I be willing to, if somebody walked in here with a gun, good luck with that, but if somebody walked in here with a gun, would I be willing to throw myself in front of you to defend you? Sure, I'll lay down my life in this world in the hopes of the ultimate goal, which is what? So that you and I maybe could be in heaven together someday. In the presence of God Himself. That's the goal. That's why Rand, she's so close. And she just keeps missing it. Just a little bit. It's not limited to this world. Rational self-interest isn't limited to this world. Okay? Is it somewhat selfish for me to love you? Sure. Do I want something back from you? In a sense, yes. I want you to love me back, and then we can be in heaven together, and we'll love each other. But see, the Marxists infiltrate the church, and nobody explains any of this. It's just, let's sing rock band songs and look at the light show. Don't think that all isn't intentional. It's completely intentional. Love, caritas in Latin, that's the word that charity comes from. Love is the gift of self. I want to give myself to you. If I hate myself, how can I give myself to anyone as a gift? Think about what starts falling apart now. How about sex? If you hate yourself, sex is the ultimate physical gift of self. If you hate yourself, how can you give yourself to someone else as a gift? You can't. All you can do is use them. That's what homosexuality is. I hate myself. I look in the mirror and I don't see Brad Pitt staring back at me. So I'm pissed off and I want to be somebody else. So let's say I'm a man and I'm going to go try to find some guy who I think I'm going to take qualities from that are going to turn me into Brad Pitt. And then someday when I wake up and look in the mirror and I'm not Brad Pitt, I'm going to drop that person. I'm going to go look for the next person who I can take from, who will turn me into Brad Pitt. What an exercise in futility. Oh, but we can't talk about any of those things, can we? Because that'd be like racist or something. I mean, seriously, at some point there will come a time where people will not be able to stand and say what I just said without having some frickin' stormtroopers come in and haul them off. Bring it. Bring it. Watch what happens. So, expounding on this idea that charity is the gift of self. Guys, gold is a fiat currency. Hate to break this to you, but it is. Gold is a fiat currency. What are you talking about? What does fiat mean? What is it in Latin? Let it be. So the argument with paper currency is they're saying, take this piece of paper and the government says, let it be money. If you think about it and drill down on it for a second, gold is exactly the same thing. Here's that shiny yellow metal. You can't eat it. You really can't do anything with it. It's just shiny and maybe you can make jewelry out of it. And we all decided, let it be money. What is money? Money is the proxy for your capacity as a human being to labor and create. It's you. It is the essence of your earthly existence, the ability to do things. Okay? In terms of my skill set, it's completely intangible, right? My skill set that I pass to them is all information based. Okay? Yeah, I do have some cattle, but that's a different thing. Just go with that for a minute. How do I get compensated for that? How do I give it to you? How do you give back to me? What are you going to give to me? Do you farm at all? What do you farm? Do you have wheat? Okay, so they farm wheat. Is it practical for them to pay me for my information in bushels of wheat? No, it isn't. So what has humanity done? Humanity said collectively, gold, let it be money. Now, they can give me money, and then I can do other things with that money, and so on and so forth. The reason I bring this up is because there's this whole confusion that, everything will be all right if we just get back on the gold standard. Well, it could help. It could help. But again, if you have a completely degenerated, immoral society, do you trust this government? Do you trust the government to be honest about how much bullion there is anywhere? No. Do you trust this government to not be lacing the stuff and debasing it with tungsten? Absolutely not. Furthermore, what's to stop, let's say we go to a gold currency, what's to stop the regime from just issuing gold certificates against bullion that doesn't exist? And they say, oh yeah, it exists, it's in Fort Knox or something, or it's underneath the Trade Center in the World Trade Center or whatever. Yeah, it's there, trust us. And they just keep giving out certificates and giving out certificates. It's exactly the same set of problems. The problem is them, and drill down on that, the problem is us. There's that quote going around about Obama. It's not him that's ultimately the problem. It's the nation of fools that elected him. It's the nation of fools today who will do nothing to correct the situation. Just sit and watch like it's a damn television show, and it's just going to work itself out. No, it's not. No, it is not. All money is a proxy. We already covered that. The Magi's gift of gold to the Christ child. I mean, on the surface, it almost sounds a little bit crass to be giving baby Jesus gold bars or gold coins or whatever it is that they had. It's not crass at all. What is gold the representation of? I just said it. Man's capacity to labor and reason, to act and to think. That's a profound gift. That's what you're giving to Jesus. I'm going to give you my capacity to reason and think and work and produce. Ooh, that has meaning. Private property is absolutely a human right bestowed by God and absolutely codified in the 10th commandment. Thou shalt not covet thy neighbor's ... Yeah. How can you covet your neighbor's anything if nobody has any private property? You have to have private property. You have to. Wealth storage is required to be fully human. If we were like cattle and we just had to be constantly, all day long, either grazing and grubbing for food, having sex, or sleeping. I mean, that's basically the life of cattle, Eat, poop, sex, and sleep. That's it. That's not us. In order for us to be fully human, we have to be able to store our wealth, save up for times when perhaps we're sick or misfortune hits. These are all very common sense apologetics to these things, and yet you've got this moron Obama going out there and saying, no, we all have to be Marxists because I am my brother's keeper. Do you know how to come back at that? Who said, am I my brother's keeper? What's the context of that? Cain had just murdered his brother in envy, jealous of him, and killed him. And God comes to Cain trying to coax a confession out of him, as if God doesn't know where Abel is. Of course God knows where Abel is. But he's trying to coax a confession out of Cain and says, where's your brother? And smart aleck murderer Cain turns to God and mouths off and says, am I my brother's keeper? Really, Obama? That's what you're building your entire theology on top of. And there's nobody who's pointing this out. They're acting like these are the words of Christ in the gospel or something. It's murderer Cain mouthing off to God. Why won't anybody post on this? Why isn't this be pointing out? Oh, that's right, because we're all in super fun rock band church listening to the rock band and watching the videos. Yeah. I know. And so finally, hence the Marxist drive to destroy currencies, because currencies are the proxy of man's ability to think, reason, and labor. Abolish private property, because private property is essential in order for a person to be fully human, and the abolition of capitalism. The destruction of humanity itself is the goal of Marxism. Okay, next big essay I'm going to write is, you have to understand, Marxism is itself exactly like Islam. It's a con. Okay? It's all BS. There is no true Marxist theory. Oh, we're trying to help the poor. No. You're trying to establish a totalitarian oligarchy, and all of this Marxist theory crap is just BS that you put in front of people to rile up the masses, get the underclass to riot against the producers, basically, split the entire country, get the totalitarian oligarchs into power, and then the real agenda can begin. It's satanic. There's no altruistic goal in Marxism, and if you keep thinking that there's Marxist theory that we have to rebut, no. It's like Islam. It's like, oh, well, there is true Islamic theology. No, there isn't. It's bull. It's all crap. It's a con. These people are carny hacks. That's it. And that is the way they should be treated, as carny hacks. That's what they are. John 1, if you go to AmericanThinker.com, I have a few pieces there. This was quite popular and had quite a bit of conversation. John chapter 1, in the beginning was the Word, and the Word was with God, and the Word was God. Okay, that's Jesus, right? That's John's creation narrative and declaring who Christ is and his divinity and his membership in the triune Godhead. Okay, in Greek, in the original Greek, in the beginning was the Word. Okay, the word used for word in Greek is logos, Logos, which is the same root word that we get logic from, and it also means reason. Stop the presses. Okay, Ayn Rand, someone would have just explained this to her, she would have demanded baptism immediately. Read Atlas Shrugged. Read Atlas Shrugged, and every time you see the word logic or reason in your mind substitute Jesus Christ, it will knock you on your butt. Because that's what he is. Logic and reason are constitutive qualities of the second person of the Trinity. Jesus is logic. He is reason. Shut up. Yeah, again, something that Rick Warren is probably not going to tell you. So constitutive qualities of Christ and therefore of God, because Christ is the second person of the triune Godhead. Logic, reason, goodness. What is goodness? Really, seriously, how do we discern between what is good and what is not good? Goodness is it in alignment with God? Does it have integrity relative to God? That's it, okay? Logic, reason, goodness, justice. Justice is a constitutive quality of Christ. He is the judge. He will come again in glory to judge the living and the dead. Okay? Look at our society. Truth. Christ is truth. I am the way, the truth, and the life. What is true? What is true and what is false? 1 + 1 = 2. True. Why? Because it is in alignment with Christ. He contains all mathematics. That's why I started with the Riemann sphere. That's in God somehow. I mean, I can't explain to you how, but that is in God. Okay? Now look at our culture. Logic. There is no logic. In fact, people who attempt to use logic are vilified. Vilified. Reason. Same thing. Anybody who attempts to explain anything using reason is vilified, called a racist, yada, yada, yada. Goodness, I don't even need to explain this. In this culture, we are exactly backwards. Bad is good and good is bad. Justice. John Corzine walks the streets a free man tonight. Barack Obama is sitting in the White House and he isn't even an American citizen. He isn't. There is no justice. The Black Panthers have put out a dead or alive bounty on George Zimmerman. What do you think would happen if I did that? What if I went home tonight and posted a dead or alive bounty on Barack Obama? I would be in jail. I would be sitting in the Douglas County Jail before the sun rose tomorrow morning. I promise you that. There is no justice. There is no truth. This is the problem. When I say we are a godless society, this is really, really serious. Really serious. God is also perfect existential love, caritas. If you remove any of these components from an economy, that economy will quickly and violently implode. And we've removed all of them. This ain't going to work itself out. I don't care if Mittens Romney or whoever is elected in November. That changes basically nothing. You have a Congress of 535 absolute godless moral degenerates. Even Alan West. How can I say that? Because Alan West should be standing on the front steps of the Capitol every damn day saying, that son of a bitch isn't even an American citizen. We got problems. Okay? And then, okay, let's say you dismiss everybody in the Congress and start over, and we're going to completely repopulate the Congress and the office of the president. This snooky watching moronic society is going to be trusted with that. You know what they're going to put back in there? 535 more of exactly the same trash. The problem is us, this godless culture and society. Couple of asides, the poor you will always have with you. Those are the words of Christ. What's the context of that? He was at the home of Lazarus, Mary, and Martha. Martha stayed in the kitchen and was working and was being all busy, and Mary was out with him, and they broke the alabaster flask of the anointing oil, which was very, very expensive. And who got all pissy about this and said, that could have been sold and gone to the poor? Who said that? Judas Iscariot, the first Marxist. No joke. No joke. Well, I know better what to do with their wealth than they do. I should be allowed to tell them what they do with their wealth and what they don't do with their wealth. And what did Jesus say? He just smacked him down. The poor you will always have with you. Think about that. There is no utopia. There is no utopia. Wealth will always be in a spectrum. Always. No matter what you do. Let's say Barack Obama wants to send everybody to college. Okay, now let's take it to the extreme. Everybody has a PhD. Everybody has a PhD. Here's my question. Who is going to clean the toilets at Burger King? Who is going to do that? Whoever they are, they're going to be really upset about it. And what good does it do to give a person whose vocation in life is to do tasks like cleaning the toilets at Burger King, which is good, honest work? I cleaned houses when I was a teenager. I enjoyed it. It was good work, and I was paid for it. And I felt like I had accomplished something when I was done. There's nothing wrong with that. And there are people in the world for whom that is their vocation. But then you're going to BS them. You're going to go send them to college, give them a degree that they didn't earn, affirmative action their way through college, puke them out, put them into the workforce, convincing them that they're worthy of some $80,000, $90,000, $100,000 a year job when they don't have the ability to do it. When they could be doing something else, like janitorial work, working in a factory. Oh my gosh, she's a racist! How can you say that anybody should ever have to clean the toilets anywhere? Because it's the truth. And here comes the Gestapo to come and get me. There's a janitorial worker right there. I'm looking at him right there. What am I getting? What? Your life is a meaningless waste. He gets a paycheck and he takes it home and he supports his family. And he provides a valuable service that is needed. And I'm some sort of a horrific Klansman because I acknowledge the reality of this. You're a racist. I don't care what you call me. Why in the world would I care what anybody thinks of me? I fear no man. Back to the courage and the not being afraid thing. Yeah. Number 2 point, Marxist infiltration of the church, academia, media, and government. Joe McCarthy was right. He had no idea how right he was, and it was all happening right then in the 50s. It started in earnest big time after World War II. The Soviets said, we are going to get in, and we're going to tear that thing down from the inside out, and it'll take us less than 100 years to do it, and they've done it. They have done it. When I'm talking about communists infiltrating, I'm not flippantly throwing that out. There has been a communist plot to infiltrate all facets of specifically the United States, but the entire Western world. And they have done it. Why is the church in shambles? Okay, super fun rock band church. I mean, that they're not even on Obama's radar because they're so far. I mean, they're just doing his work for him. Just bread and circuses, keep them all entertained, blah, blah, blah. What about the Catholic Church? Okay, explicit communist infiltration after World War II, which then, as a specific tactic, recruited homosexuals into the priesthood and into women being nuns. Has darn near torn the whole thing down. The gates of hell will never prevail against the church, but it's as close as you could get right now. All completely explicit tactics. Academia, I don't need to tell you. Media, I really don't need to tell you. And now government. They've got it. They've got the White House. Do you honestly think that if he's not going to lose the election? They're going to rig that election a la Putin, a la Chavez. It'll be just like that. He is not walking away, no matter what. Give me an example of a Marxist totalitarian regime that has come to power and has walked away peacefully. There are none. And they've got the crown jewel. This is it. He's not walking away, okay? This is not going to end well in any stretch of the imagination. Where Randian and Austrian thought falls apart is on the question of sacrificial love. The only way out of this mess is to be willing to voluntarily sacrifice entitlements, deleverage, and drastically reduce living standards. We are living in a bubble. It's all fake. It's all fake. And the only way out is for us to voluntarily lay it all down. How many of these snooky-watching imbeciles are going to do that? Look at what the communist Obama regime is trying to stir up in these people. I'm entitled to this. I'm entitled to that. I'm entitled to health care. I'm entitled to a college education. I'm entitled to a house. I'm entitled to a job. No, you aren't. And unless we all voluntarily are willing to make sacrifices and lay it down, you're not going to win. You're not going to win. I actually teach this in my cattle marketing class. The only way you get your crown is to get down on your knees and surrender. It's a paradox. Christianity is just chock full of paradoxes. This is a big one. You have to be willing to lay it down. Take up your cross. How is self-sacrifice rooted in self-love? What's the objective? Is the objective of your life to live in a 5,000 square foot house with granite countertops? Is it? What is the objective of your life? How about heaven? How about indwelling in the Trinity for all eternity? Is that the goal? Okay, if I love myself, isn't that what I should desire? And if I love you, isn't that what I should desire for you? And if you tell me that the 5,000 square foot house with the granite countertops is going to send you to hell, then honey, I want you to live in a trailer because I want you to make it to heaven. That's what I want, okay? What is the greatest good for oneself? Heaven. We've already answered that. What is the greatest good for another? Same answer. Heaven. What is love? God is love. And what is it in terms of us to each other? The total and complete gift of self. Being willing to lay it all out. Here you go. Take it. What is the opposite of love? This is a huge one. Never forget this. What is the opposite of love? It's not hate. No. Close. That's right. The opposite of love is indifference. It is indifference. Okay? That's what they want. They want us all to be completely indifferent to one another, and they want all acts of quote-unquote charity to be laid off on the state. That's why they're doing all of this. And then what that leads to is not so much indifference, but then you get into a true Marxist situation. People hate their neighbor because there is a fixed pie of this size. There's just so many resources coming out of the government, and all of the people, the rabble, the proletariat are made to scrap and fight with each other over that limited piece of pie. And so, Rand got into this. Remember, if you've read in the car factory, remember how the people were becoming incensed with one another whenever someone would become pregnant? That was written in, 56? When did she write that? 56? There wasn't even the pill. The pill didn't come out until 61. She didn't know about the contraceptive mentality that was going to come into the culture, and she hit the nail right on the head. Look at the Chinese one-child policy. Look what Obama's trying to do now. It's not just that he wants people to contracept. I mean, that's just level one. Have you seen that now it's going to be required that colleges offer free permanent surgical sterilization? It's not enough for him that they just give up their fertility temporarily on the pill. No, they want it all. We want you permanently sterilized. This is satanic. That is why I declared a tax strike actually last year, but when he started doing all that, there's no doubt in my mind now. In my opinion, and I hesitate to say that because there's either truth on this question or there is not truth. I'm going to rephrase that. It is the case now that if you are financially supporting this government and this regime, you are in mortal sin. They are using your tax dollars to pay for abortions outright. They're going to demand the $1 surcharge on all health insurance policies. Have you seen that? So what their weasel way out is, we're not going to have you paying for an abortion. The abortion coverage is going to be mandated for everybody in your insurance policy, which now you have to have according to the mandate. And by the way, if the Supreme Court rules against Obama, he'll just ignore it. He'll just ignore it. Mark my words. They're not going to just walk away. So what they've said is, okay, you're going to have your health insurance policy, but everybody, including you, in all of your fertility, I can tell how fertile, you're just getting ready to pop a child, aren't you? Everybody is going to have a $1 abortion surcharge added on to their health insurance policy, which will be billed completely separately. Talk about a potential mark of the beast. Right there it is. What the hell else do you need? Are you going to sit around and wait until people like me are being hung in the public square? Because that's where it's going. That I promise you, that's where it's going. Are you going to wait for that? Think about Nazi Germany. If those people had just risen up and done something about that, think. It's not just the 6 million Jews that were in the Holocaust. World War II killed 70 million. It killed, how many Germans did he kill? 7, 10, something like that, million German civilians and regular army were killed. This could all be stopped now. Are you willing to do anything to stop it? Barring a junta in the United States, and I'm just biding my time, eventually at some point I will post on my website calling for a junta. If he ignores the Supreme Court, we'll see what happens. But it's going to be before the election, I'm sure. The best way out of this right now, hi Internet, yes, you're damn right I'm saying it on the Internet. The best way out of this right now would be a junta. Do you know what a junta is? It's when this would be a counter coup because we've already had a coup. Ideally, what I would like to see is a 3-man panel come in, take over the executive branch, dismiss the Congress, set up completely new elections to completely repopulate the Congress. The 3-man panel, ideally, I would think would be something like a serious, hardcore, old-school retired general, something like Boykin, Jerry Boykin, somebody like that. Hardcore, not these perfume princes, these Marxist little panty waist, we're going to win hearts and minds, Petraeus nonsense. I'm talking about hardcore, old school. So somebody like Boykin, somebody like that. I would also like to see a special forces guy coming right out of combat in Afghanistan or Iraq. Somebody who knows what the deal is. Okay, and a younger person. And then a third would be some sort of a civilian. Okay? 3-man panel, come in, clear everything, reset, start the whole thing over from scratch. It could be done with no bloodshed. Does this country have the balls to do anything like that? Oh, absolutely not. Guaranteeing that we will have hot war. So, like I said, barring a junta in the United States, hot war is now almost inevitable at some point. It is going to come to that, and if you aren't armed, you better get armed quickly. Fighting and perhaps dying in just war is a manifestation of caritas, charity, love. Charity isn't going down and giving clothes to Goodwill. It's laying it out. Christ crucified is the perfect manifestation of charity. Nailed to a cross. Dead. That's charity. Others will likely be imprisoned and or executed by the Obama regime. True martyrdom, not the Muslim bastardization of the word. That isn't martyrdom. That's satanic murder. True martyrdom is the complete gift of self to mankind. It's like saying, I'm going to marry the entire human race and I'm going to lay down my life. It doesn't mean that you go quietly. You can still fight in a war, but understand if it comes to pass that you are killed in action or captured and then killed, your death is a martyrdom. And if you're not Catholic, you need to read the Roman martyrology. You need to read and understand how many thousands and thousands and thousands of people went to their deaths for Christ and eventually for you. It's not super fun rock band church. That is a satanic Marxist bastardization. It's a pagan heresy. Failure to fully grasp the paradoxical nature of love and be willing to sacrifice good things up to and including one's own life guarantees that we will lose everything. Circling back now to the beginning, why did I shut my brokerage? Because it was the only thing I could possibly do. No tears, not even a decision. It was the only thing I could do. And he that taketh not up his cross and followeth me is not worthy of me. He that findeth his life shall lose it, and he that shall lose his life for me shall find it. That ain't just him flapping his lips. You have to understand that this lifetime that we've lived in, this little pocket of this Pax Americana in this North American continent, has been a massive anomaly in terms of human history. The fact that most of you guys have gotten through your life without seeing hard combat, but I assume there might be some Vietnam vets here. Are there any Vietnam vets here? Has anybody seen combat? Have you seen combat? Yeah. Okay, so there's one gentleman here who's seen combat. Do you have any idea how rare this is in the annals of human history? This continent was blessed. We were blessed. And this land was consecrated to the Immaculate Heart of Mary and to the Sacred Heart of Jesus. And we've lost it. And we lost it by slaughtering our own children. And we ain't going to get it back easy. We don't deserve to get it back easy. Whatever it takes to get us to heaven. I mean, if he has to put you through a meat grinder to get you to heaven, he'll do it. Believe me, he'll do it. Because the goal isn't the 5,000 square foot house with the granite countertops. The goal is heaven. Don't forget that. Last slide. So what can we do? Simple. Do not comply. Do not. Well, no, you don't. Do not let anyone, under any circumstance, disarm you. The only thing we have going for us at this point, the only thing left is the Second Amendment. I don't care what the hell bullshit edict he brings out of Washington. I don't care what UN nonsense they try to pull. Do not surrender your arms under any circumstance. Prepare for war ASAP. Food, water, excess medications, eyeglasses, guns, ammunition, more ammunition, more guns, and more ammunition. Now, God is merciful. You can't say that we haven't had warning. I mean, it's just like with Germany. I mean, hello, those people had years and years and years. They just sit and watched. Don't let that happen here. Big one, media strike. Do you have cable and or satellite coming into your house? Are you paying those SOBs to pump Marxist agitprop and pornography? It's pornography into your home. Well, Ann, I don't watch any of it. I don't care if you don't watch any of it. If you're paying for it, you're subsidizing it. If you have cable, you're paying for Snooki. You're paying for the gay channel. You're paying for all of that crap. A portion of your fee is going to subsidize that. You are committing a sin against charity against your neighbor. If you're subsidizing that, you're subsidizing it going into the home of your neighbor and going to your neighbor's children. There is no excuse. None. Look what NBC did with the Zimmerman thing just this week. Did you see how they edited that? Mm-hmm. How they cut it out? Well, he's black. Well, it was completely dishonest. Why in the hell are you putting up with that? You should call tomorrow morning and cancel it. Say, I'm done. No more. No more. I'm not paying for this crap anymore. I'm not going to pay for the destruction of my own civilization. That's what you're doing. If you can't even do that, if you are so weak and so cowardly and so addicted and so effete that you can't even go without television, then get the hell out of my sight. I'm serious. Somebody needs to say this. I have to watch football. Yeah, you have to watch a bunch of other men act like men because you can't act like a man yourself. What do you think all that is? That's all substitute masculinity. Because these castrates out here, all they can do is sit on a sofa and stare and wistfully watch other men act like men. Damn. Get rid of it. Financial market strike, ASCAP. Close all brokerage accounts. Get out. Get as far out of the banks as you can. It's not just a matter of striking. It's a matter of doing everything that you can to protect your wealth. You can't profit from this. This is not going to be pretty. Everybody's going to get hurt, but I do advocate that you be a good steward of your wealth and protect it as much as you can. And that means getting into physical as much as you can, getting out of debt as much as you can. Pay off as much as you can if you have any debt. If you don't have any debt, start allocating into physical, which would be maybe something like farm ground. All the people in the know, all the moneyed people in the know have been buying farm ground now for 5-6 years. They just knew. They knew. The day Obama was inaugurated, an acre of farm ground in Illinois went for $5,500. Last I heard, it was $13,000 an acre. It's got to be way more than that because they just sold irrigated farm ground in Kansas in, what county was it? Clay County, Kansas, $10,000 an acre. Irrigated farm ground in Kansas. What? Okay, all the big money is going into farm ground. Gold? Absolutely. Sure. You can't buy it up here at the highs. This may be just the beginning. I mean, gold could go to $20,000 if the dollar utterly collapses. I have absolutely no idea. Physical. You mean like an ETF? You mean like a fund investing in? No. On your property, in your house, you stand in front of it with an AR-15 and you physically defend it. That's what I'm talking about. Tax strike, I've done it. I'm done. I'm not even filing anymore. And I've been in the process of being audited for a year now. And I'm telling the auditor, you're not getting a damn thing from me. You can do whatever you want. Do whatever you want. You're not getting anything from me ever again. Not until this government is completely repopulated and reformed. Not until there's a counter-revolution. Send me to prison. You do that. Send me to prison and watch what happens. If that's what it takes, then that's fine with me. Eventually, if none of these things work, we're looking at general strike in the spirit of solidarity in Poland during the late 80s, Lech Walesa and that whole movement. I don't like the idea of general strikes right now because that's punishing people who are in business. It's stopping commerce. That's kind of your last straw. It's actually your next to last straw. And then beyond that, prosecute a just war, which would be in this country a counter-revolution. Start thinking about this because when it happens, it's going to happen so fast. Look at what he's done in just 3 years. It could all happen in this country before November. He's trying his damnedest to stoke a race war. He's trying to start a race war. And I was saying this since months after he was elected. It's going to be, and they know they've got to do it in the first term. Because if he does this crap and starts this lawlessness crap, he's not guaranteed a lawfully elected second term. They're going to have to push. Okay? And that's all I have to say. Went a little long. Sorry about that.
So how should you really feel about things.
Yeah.
All right, so thank you, Ann, for that amazing story.
Thank you.
So it's not just about economics. Well, it is actually about economics, because economics is life, isn't it? So that's the point. So well said. I'd like to take a minute and just have everybody in the audience introduce yourselves so that she can see who she was speaking with, okay? And the internet can see who's here. And then also Jennifer George can see who she was speaking with. Just so you get to know each other a little bit, because this group is kind of fungible. It comes and goes. There's some hardcore members and some people that just come and go. Okay, so I will start with myself. I'm Paul, president of State Economics Club. I teach economics here at the Vanguard School. Thank you all for coming. And let's go to our tech people right over here.
My name is Chris. I represent We Are Change. I'm a volunteer lobbyist, and I help out on tech as well.
Good, thanks.
Okay, Trace?
I'm Trace Mountain. I'm with Rocky Mountain Streams, and I'm doing the tech stuff and trying to keep track of 15 things at once.
Speaking of Rocky Mountain Streams, there are 2 baskets in the back. They're boxes for donations, okay, to the club. One box is donations to the club. The other box says specifically for streaming, because I can't pay Trace anymore, but Trace does this by volunteering, and he's also trying to build his business with there. So if you like the fact of having this on the internet, if you like the technology that we have, if you like being able to send links to your friends to watch this later, please donate some to the left-hand side of the 2 collection boxes there for the streaming internet. And now, Mary?
I'm Mary Zenit. I'm a physician, and I'm passionate about real health reform that's patient-centered and get all the bureaucracy, the paperwork, the regulations, government mandates, and intervention out of patient care.
I'm Cindy Lyons. I'm a soldier. I'm an independent journalist, and God told me that I should focus most on the gospel and get my affairs in order and be radical, something like Ann was saying.
I'm Fred, and I'm a retired Air Force officer, and I'm keeping a low profile. On my own. Yeah.
Sir.
Father Rod Pomeroy from St. Aidan's Anglican Church.
Speak to the cameras, if you will. Not to me.
I'm Marty Harper. I'm a retired Air Force white surgeon. I was an obstetrician gynecologist and retired from that also. And so just retired now.
Hi, I'm Lisa Robinson. I'm a realtor and I'm in real estate, and I also go to culinary school.
Hi, I'm John Pollock. I'm a retired electrical engineer and strongly believe in this free market economy.
Paul McSpadden. That's it?
That's all you need.
All right. Bob Adelman. I'm a freelance writer for the New American Magazine and a praxeologist.
Also, Bob Edelman is speaking at our next Pikes Peak Economics Club. So he'll be the keynote speaker for the May 1st, I believe it is, May 1st, the first Tuesday in May. He's going to speak on the internet, Gutenberg 2.0. In other words, is the internet the new revolutionary Gutenberg press that's going to open up a whole new way of living?
Hi, my name is Bob Spear. I'm retired and an associated person with Spear Commodity Futures.
Hey, commodity broker.
I'm Paul Anderson, retired physician.
I'm Tim Hughes. I'm a teacher here at the Vanguard School of Mathematics.
I'm Keith James. I'm a rancher, live in eastern Colorado.
I'm Ardith James. I am his wife, and I am an elementary school teacher.
I'm James McGuire. I'm an acupuncturist, doing the best I can to bring down the high cost of healthcare.
I'm Richard Laro, retired aircraft mechanic.
I'm Ryan. For the job that puts food on the table, I do high-tech consulting, but outside of that, I started a company a couple years ago called Reclaiming Moral Government that teaches a lot about Austrian economics and the dangers of the progressive movement.
Mara and Jack Roberts, and we do Freedom Talk Netcast and interview crazy people like Ann.
And we fight communism at every chance we
fight
get.
communism!
Yes, we do. Okay, back to the other side over there.
Wait, we forgot one.
I'm not supposed to be recorded. They're looking for me right now.
We have anonymous. Well,
my name is Will Evans, and I'm a sales specialist at REI.
My name is Alexander Ford, and I'm looking for a job.
and he will probably be our speaker for maybe June or July. We're not quite sure yet. He's going to do a talk on Praxeology 101, so the Austrian economic theory. We're going to get into it. So we're looking forward to that. Next.
I'm Chris Baum, and I'm a Christian and a father and a retired naval officer, retired retailer, and a retired computer geek.
I'm Sonia Baum. I'm his wife. I'm saving the taxpayer thousands of dollars by taking care of my 95-year-old mother at home.
Thank you.
I'm Sue Hawkins. This is my husband. I'm here to tell you a lot more about it. So
My name is Bob Hawkins, and I'm the luckiest man because this woman proposed to me and I accepted. Actually, it was the other way around. I'm a retired lawyer and judge, and I write a conservative column for Americans for Prosperity, jeffcrank.com here in Colorado Springs. And I'm so grateful tonight for this incredible woman here who's moved me so much by her eloquence. And I wonder, is there anything you're really passionate about?
No.
Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
Andy Lennon, I work for an electric utility. We're Ron Paul supporter, got involved, so I'm a member of the Southern Colorado Tea Party. I became involved in Pueblo GOP to try and affect some change there.
Okay.
Bill Evans, insurance agent, more importantly, a Christian.
David Kelly, Liberty on the Rocks. I'm always politically correct. Or excuse me, I'm always rebellious by nature and politically incorrect. And I will not comply.
Yay!
Dio Vindis.
And Dave, aren't you having Ann speak in your group?
Yes, Ann is going to be speaking next Tuesday on a mystery topic.
Next Tuesday, Ann Barnhardt, Liberty on the Rocks, Colorado Springs.
And plus alcohol equals a good time.
Yes, tavern style politics. Yes.
Tavern politics, okay, next.
I'm Shannon Kelly. I am his daughter. I'm simply a high school student trying to find hope for my generation.
Drop out! Drop out!
I'm Harry Knepp. That's my wife Kathy, and we're homeschooling parents of 8 children. Our youngest.
All right, thank you all so much. Thank you for
Thank you.
All right, so I think we're going to wrap it up. All of those printed materials back there are free of charge. There's an organization here in town called the Keep Freedom Forum. So they're not free. Somebody paid for it, somebody else paid for it. So free of charge for you. Take any of the material you want, any of those great books, Bastiat, Hayek, anything you want there, any of the pamphlets. We do ask you to do 2 things. One is to read it. 2 is to pass it on. Okay, help yourself to some snacks and drinks. If there's any left, please throw some money into both kitties for Trace Mountain and for me, Pikes Peak Economics Club, and I'll try to help Ann out with some of the gas flowers. Okay, thanks for coming. See you next month.
Thanks, Paul.